Good morning, everyone. Let me begin by wishing you all a very happy Pongal. Welcome to the 7th edition of the Hindu Lit for Life. Begun in 2010 to commemorate the 20th year of the Hindu's Literary Review, the festival hosts spirited and wide-ranging discussions on a variety of topics and holds its own among a growing number of literature festivals in India. We now begin with the inauguration. May I request Dr. Nirmala Lakshman, Director, Kasturi & Sons Limited and Lit for Life, Mukund Padmanabhan, Editor, The Hindu, Rajiv Lochan, MD and CEO of Kasturi & Sons Limited, to take their seats on the stage. Our guest of honor for the inauguration is Sheikh Gulammohammed Sheikh, an internationally renowned artist. He has been a key figure in Indian contemporary art since the 1960s, and his richly narrative works are drawn from his own memories and mythological scenes and the universal human experience. We are very happy to have him back here to inaugurate this edition of the festival. And now, Dr. Nirmala Lakshman will introduce the festival.
Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to the 7th edition of the Hindu Lit for Life. I'm delighted that this year, too, we are privileged with the presence of writers and speakers who bring their expertise and excellence and uplift this festival every time. I thank them very much for coming and welcome them to a festival and to a city that traditionally honors literature, culture, and the arts. The galaxy of distinguished speakers and workshop facilitators range from international chefs, historians, poets, politicians, economists, and journalists. Also, we have filmmakers, designers, dancers, musicians, artists, and award-winning novelists. We have expert sessions on Indian language literature and translations as well. I'd like to extend a very special welcome to one of India's greatest contemporary artists, Professor Gulammohammed Sheikh, who has very kindly consented to open the festival this morning. We are very honored by his presence and participation. Thank you very much, sir. Looking back over the last several years on what has been a very richly rewarding experience for everyone who has been involved in this festival, I can say without hesitation that what gives life to events like these is the involvement and response from the public, from an audience like this. And this year, the registrations have crossed 12,000, in addition to the large number who will attend without doing this registration. We are glad that we can facilitate a space where writers can meet their readers, and readers can listen and engage with writers and thinkers, thus carrying forward what we have been doing in print for 138 years as a newspaper of record. Since its inception in 1878, the Hindu has consistently promoted the arts, literature, and culture. All great newspapers thrive because of their constant engagement with the great questions of the day, whatever they may be. And the Hindu has reflected this not just through the authenticity and credibility of the news and perspectives it produces every day in its columns and pages, but also because of the special and extensive space it allots to books, writing, and literature, especially through the supplements. As a newspaper, we stand for credibility, for inclusiveness, truthfulness, and the pursuit of justice. Therefore, a festival that comes from the Hindu reflects the same values as the newspaper. And so, in our programming, we have attempted to be wide-ranging, inclusive, creative, bringing an arc of ideas and topics for the enjoyment of all of you who attend the festival. Now, I believe more than ever before, with the continuing assault on freedom of expression, the mushrooming of fundamentalist far-right politics across the globe, reflected in the rhetoric of fear, politics, social divisions, and attacks on the other in many societies, liberal platforms like these and independent voices need to be strengthened and heard. Lit for Life engages with these ideas head-on and I'm sure the discussions over the next few days will prove to be stimulating. We also mark the beginning of the 70th year of India's independence during this year's festival and look back on the country's record in various areas. We were privileged to have Dr. Ramachandra Guha, one of India's leading historians, deliver his report card on 70 years of independent India in Bangalore last October, initiating the first annual Lit for Life lecture. We hope that it will become a yearly event. You may have to forgive us if you find it hard to choose between sessions, as we believe that every subject that is being talked about or debated and showcased over the next 3 days is equally important. But we do hope that you will enjoy being a part of whichever space you choose to be in. And for the very first time, we are introducing a children's festival because we believe it's important to stimulate creativity and broaden the horizons of knowledge for the very young. Again, the programming for the Children's Festival reflects the work that we already do in the young reader publications of The Hindu, such as Young World and The Hindu in School. I'm very grateful to the facilitators of these workshops and hope to build on this over the next few years. I'd also like to convey my gratitude to Radhika Menon and the team at Good Books, who have collaborated with us for the Young World Good Books Award, recognizing the best writers and illustrators for children's books each year. For coordinating and organizing the college students' theater competition production, my sincere thanks to Dushyant. For us, the involvement of young people and a new generation is an important sign of the festival's relevance and growth for a new generation. At the heart of this festival is the Hindu Prize given each year for Best Fiction, which will be awarded tomorrow. Instituted in 2010, it is adjudicated by an independent panel of judges who arrive at a short list, and they will declare a winner tomorrow. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our eminent judges and the chair of the jury, Professor Sachidanandan, for their efforts and for tirelessly taking on this onerous task. The Hindu, however, plays no part in the selection process. This is an independent exercise, but it's an important part of the Hindu's commitment to supporting creativity and excellence in writing in India. I'm very pleased to announce that Pulitzer Prize-winning author Geraldine Brooks, who's with us at the festival, has kindly agreed to give away the prize tomorrow. I'd like to emphasize that this festival's flowering and growth is entirely due to a team of intensely dedicated people who have worked through many months to make this happen. Our program director, Rachna Davidar, and our program consultant, Prasanna Ramaswamy, brought their unique spirit, their vast and diverse experience to craft an exceptional program for the festival. My heartfelt thanks to them. I'd like to express my gratitude to Rajiv Lochan, our company's managing director and CEO, whose support, commitment, and enthusiasm for this has been constant. I'd like to thank Mukund Padmanabhan, editor of The Hindu, and our other senior editorial colleagues for all their sustained help over the last many months. To the curatorial team of Shalini Arun, R. Kritika, and Archana Subramaniam, who have worked long hours tirelessly and with great meticulousness, my most sincere thanks. The diligence and unwavering support, as well as the assiduousness of planning and execution that came from Satya Sriram, Lata Ganapati, Suprita Ramkumar, and their entire team has made this event possible. I would also like to convey my deep appreciation to D. Rajkumar for his support. K.N. Parthasarthi and R. Ramesh have always provided invaluable help. I'd like to also express my thanks to the volunteers from within the Hindu, the student volunteers, the bloggers and reporters, and social media practitioners who will take this festival to a wider audience. The enormous rise in registration and attendance at this festival in the city, and perhaps for many coming from outside elsewhere also, is an indication that more and more people want to engage with the printed word, and that ideas and books and opinions continue to be interesting and relevant to every human being. And what is most important as Lit for Life, and that is what is most important as Lit for Life is about holding things up to the light, trying to understand through discussions and debates what shapes us as people, our histories, our achievements, and also our failures, and perhaps also for all the hopes that we hold for what lies ahead. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you, and I hope you will enjoy the festival. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now our chief guest, Shri Gulammohammed Sheikh, will share his thoughts. Sir?
Thank you, Nirmala ji, and your team. Thank you, Prasanna Ramaswamy, who got in touch with me during the last Hindu Fest. I am not a frequent flyer to lit festivals, nor am I a kind of a frequent inaugurators either of exhibitions or festivals. But the fact that I attended the festival last time and made a small presentation and found myself glued with literally for 3 full days, listening to all that I could manage, because there are multiple venues and one could not be at every venue at the same time. I was deeply impressed by the kind of dialogue that took place in a civilized manner, and I repeat that, because this is something which we seem to crave for. Unfortunately, the dark times that we are living in, there is a shrinking of knowledge. I would even say the shrinking of some of our universities. I would also say that even in the public domain, and I don't only mean media, that the civilized dialogue seems to have been affected very severely in the last few decades. And I do not know where we are heading. Yes, we have malls and we have fancy outlets, but there is a space somewhere for knowledge, somewhere there is a place for word. The word spoken, the word written, and the word printed. I grew up with that word. I grew up with also painting, but it is the word that concerns us today. And somewhere there is a need to reclaim that word again. I think every generation looks for some kind of a knowledge that would sustain itself. It's not just the information. Information technology is available to us. But something more than that, something deeper than that. And I think we have this in this country because we have multiple languages and we have multiple authors writing in multiple perspectives. And yet, at one level, one would see that it is not coalescing. I mean, we have a Sahitya Academy, we have Lalit Kala Academy, and we have Sangeet Natak Academy, but all these seem to be in slumber of some kind. But it is the larger sort of issue which concerns us all. As John Berger recently put it, John Berger, who recently died, but a few months ago there was an interview with him by an art critic, and he spoke about living with pain in this century. And I think in some way, all of us have, in smaller or larger measure, endured that pain. There are forces which are larger than what we can combat with, but it's always the small men who have combated the larger adversaries. And that's why I would say Gandhi was one of them. And what brought me here at this conference is also that kind of an association which was indicated to me in inviting me here. So I'm extremely happy that despite the kind of depletion of knowledge that has taken place in front of our eyes, there are these new venues opening. I do not know whether Literary Fest is an ideal way to convey knowledge, but it is certainly a way of conveying knowledge. And I've been told that there are several other festivals. And it is very important in a nation like ours to have this perspective from multiple points of view. And if we have that multiple points of view, then perhaps we would be able to gauge the kind of vastness that this nation presents to us. I think in here there is a perspective which comes from the South. And so looking at literature, looking at life, it introduces dimensions which are of different perspectives, and in that sense I saw that there is a dialogue on Kashmir, there is a dialogue on Punjab, and there are many other regions. I do not know how all these festivals can perhaps coalesce together and have dialogues from all different points, so that the multiplicity of our life, of living in this nation, is brought back to us, especially to our younger generation. I am happy to be here, and I hope that such festivals, which have now become proxy for some of our universities, would provide that opportunity to come face to face with that multiple perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, we request Mrs. Lakshman to present a memento to our chief guest. Now, we will have a few words from Mukund Padmanabhan, editor, The Hindu.
Yeah, good morning and welcome to this edition of the Hindu Lit for Life. I think this is a festival that's improving with every passing year. It's just getting better all the time. And I think if you look at this year's programming, there's enough evidence of this. I think the Hindu Lit for Life, over 6 years, I think, of its existence, it's no longer just one of the Hindus' marquee events. I think it's the marquee event that we do every year. And the credit for this goes entirely to Nirmala, whose baby it's been, and her team. I think you please give her a big round of applause here. The Lit for Life was launched in 2010. I think it was an appropriate time to launch a festival. I think it caught a sort of wave, if you like, when literary festivals were beginning to find traction, gain acceptance in India, drawing large crowds, and finding audiences that came not for a session or a day or a particular time of day, but spent the entire period of the festival soaking up conversations, debates, interactions, and so on. And I think it was just a couple of years before this when Bill Clinton described the festival in Hay, which takes place, I think, on the border of England and Wales, as a Woodstock of the mind. And I think it's an interesting and memorable musical metaphor, because I think it captures the scale of today's literary festivals. I mean, no longer do authors, I mean, famous, not so famous, have to read their books or discuss their ideas in so small drawing rooms or in niche bookshops. The advent of the Lit Fest has given them a platform to do this in enormous tents set in open fields or in large halls like this. And I think this has transformed the way that authors interact, I think, with their readers. I just want to end by just pushing this musical metaphor a little further. And it seems appropriate to do this at a time when your Nobel laureate is for literature is also a musician, Bob Dylan. And I urge you to engage with this as you might engage with the Woodstock, or might have engaged with the Woodstock, or might engage with the Glastonbury, because as Nirmala said, they are discrete sessions and all sessions are equal, but I think all sessions, apart from the fact that you can take away something from every one of them, I think the important thing is for a festival of this kind is to soak in the atmosphere. So be here for the long haul, stay the 3 days. You will take a lot back with you. Take the festival home back with you, not just a session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mukund. And now, may I request Rajiv Lochan, CEO, MD of Kasturi & Sons Limited, to say a few words.
A very good morning to all of you, and as Kritika mentioned, a happy Pongal to everyone that's here. This is far and away the largest Lit for Life festival that we've had the privilege to organize, and I must admit the credit for that certainly internally goes to Dr. Nirmala Lakshman, but all the credit goes to you, the patrons of the Hindu group, supporters of the Lit for Life, and the discerning citizens of Chennai and those that have come from outside to participate here. As a group, we are undergoing a fair bit of change. Hopefully some of that change is somewhat visible to you. There's a lot of change internally that we are undergoing. In the next few weeks, you will see a lot more visible change in who we are, and I hope that you will both support us and offer us feedback on how we could do better. At the core of our change is you, the reader of the Hindu group of publications. And this is a very conscious choice that we've made to obsess about our readers. That's the principle on which we were founded, to give voice to the natives 138 years ago. And we think the time now is more important than ever to obsess about our readers, particularly at a time when the media business and the newspaper world seems to be plunging towards the business of advertising. We want to recommit to the profession of journalism, and that starts and ends with the reader. The curation of Lit for Life itself, we've learned from our past experience, but have also sought a lot of feedback from all of you. So my request to you, with the spirit of making this even bigger and better in the years to come, would be to freely, candidly, and openly give us more feedback, more input on how we could make the festival more memorable, enjoyable for each and every one of you and for generations to come. And if on our publications, if you have any input to offer, we would very much welcome it. We are the only newspaper in the country that actually carries a toll-free number where you can call and give your input. We are the only newspaper in the country that has a reader's editor, and we are now much more proactively using the digital channels, reaching out to our readers for input and feedback. So my closing request to all of you is please dialogue back with us so that we can render our service to you even better. Thanks for being here. Look forward to spending time with all of you, and I hope you have a great festival here. Take care.
Thank you, Rajiv. May I now request everyone on stage to please light the traditional Kuttavalakku and inaugurate this edition of Lit for Life. Thank you.